Hey y'all, to the Figuring It Out With You podcast duo, where we're in a with each other and you all, just trying to figure out how to make the most of the life we've all been given.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Kay.
And let's get this conversation started for today.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Figuring It Out With You podcast with your favorite mother-daughter duo, where we're in an ever-going dialogue with each other and you all, trying to figure out how to make the most of the life we've all been given.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Kay.
And let's get this conversation started for the day.
So, today we're going to be talking about entering the job force and what it was like for my mom, which I guess was in the 80s, 90s?
I can't even remember. It was the 90s, though, I believe.
Yeah, right, because you were born in late 70s.
Yes.
So, fair enough. Okay. And for me, compared to me, and what some similarities might be and just what our personal experiences have been, mine's going to be a little shorter because, I ain't really interested, but we're just going to get into that right now. So, Mommy, what age did you get your first job?
I got my first job at the age, I don't even want to tell you because I lied on my application. I was 15. I told them I was 16. And I don't know. They didn't even ask me for ID. That may be.
They were like, that's fine with me. Just sign that card, baby girl. Don't matter.
So I started working at the age of 15 at a restaurant. And I was so happy, so excited. I think I was making like $4.25 an hour. Wow, and you couldn't tell me nothing. When I tell you I was rich.
I hear you.
After I turned 16, my dad got me a car. And I remember filling my car up for maybe $15. And it was great. I was happy to be working. I was living a life. I had money to take care of myself. At least I thought I had money to take care of myself. And it was just carefree. You know, I can't even. I don't have any complaints because it was great. It was a really good, nice experience.
Yeah.
So,
did you say?
I wish I could go back to.
That smooth living, $15 gas tank. For sure.
Completely dependent on my parents.
I feel you. Did you stay? How long did you stay at your first job?
I stayed at my first job for about a year. Maybe about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed there for about 2 years. And I actually left there when I learned that I was about to have Malik. I got pregnant right before I was supposed to finish high school. So that's when I stopped working and completely became back dependent on my parents.
Yeah.
But just that whole experience of working and having my own money, I just enjoyed it. I knew that that was how I wanted to live my life. Not necessarily working, but having my own.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that. So
nice.
How was working for you, Michaelia? When were you how old were you when you got your first job?
So I was 16 when I got my first job, which I think is just in Georgia, the most jobs you have to be 16. Yeah, most jobs. I think there's only 1 or 2 places that hire 15-year-olds. But I'm trying to remember, what grade was that? 10th grade? I'm always like, what age do you turn in what grade? I'm pretty sure I was in 10th grade. Yeah, and I started working at Stone Mountain Park in the entertainment department, and I was too hyped. I was real hyped too. I was a theater girly at a school that had barely a theater program. Barely, by barely, I mean we had it for 1 semester. We did one little thing. It was a very great semester, but it didn't really continue because our school, it had a good amount of clubs, decent amount, but it also was an early college school, so there was a lot of emphasis on going to the college the last 2 years. So with a school like that, the building was more so for only 2 years of your life, 9th and 10th grade. And so there just wasn't as much, like there was no real sports for real. We had step team, there was a dance team too, but it was really like student led. A lot of it was like, okay, as a student you have to really take the charge of it, because it's not like the resources in the building. We have teachers, but they really got to focus on it, and it's not like so many teachers that it's just like all these teachers to sponsor and plan and all this stuff. So we had a little theater thing for like one semester, and that was really fun. But I was just looking for more experience in that realm. And so I worked at Stone Mountain's entertainment department as an usher at first. And to be honest, when I first got that job, I wasn't really like this yet. I mean, I was starting to come out of my shell a little bit, but I really was just like still on my like only really talkative with my friends, and don't really want to go like into the store to ask what time they open or close. Or just I didn't really prefer to just be like out there. And my job was, the way I understood it at first, was to stand there as people are walking into the venue for the show, tell them where to sit, if there's any problems that come up, help out. If people need questions with the map, like tell them how to get to places, whatever. But then I found that in some seasons at Stone Mountain, there's not people just coming like by the adobes. Like at Christmas, oh yeah, it's packed. You don't got to worry about the show having enough people. It's gonna be great. In the summer, some days hit or miss. Like in the summer, people got different lives. So like, yeah, parents might come with their children like one day out the week or whatever. But it's not just like everybody's like, oh, it's summer, like I gotta go to Stone Mountain, or it's spring break, I gotta go to Stone Mountain. And so when there wasn't a lot of people, my job was to walk the streets being like, hey guys, there's a show happening over at the blah, 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 like this time. And I was like, I'm just not about to do that. Like, if there's nobody, well, there is nobody here. And so at first I was kind of like that. And there was times where I didn't really go do that. But then over time, I did do that more. And then I started to be able to like connect more with the people that I was talking to. And I worked there for, I want to say 4 years. 10th grade was what year? Jesus, why is math so hard? I think 10th grade spring must have been, okay, 2016 fall, I went to high school. So then 2018 until 2021, I think I worked there. But on and off, because it was like a seasonal position. And then by the time I finished, I was ushering, but also mascotting. And that was really fun. I would get in the little mascots at like springtime. I was in Bernard the Bunny, just taking pictures with folks. I was in Gingy, the gingerbread man. I got to walk in the parade, and we learned a little choreo. That was really fun. And I feel like I got a lot of connections from that job. Like now trying to expand my work into the theater industry, it's crazy how like Atlanta's so small. Like I'm like in these rooms with people where I'm like interning, and a few members of the cast I work with at Stone Mountain, they all remember me. And I'm always like, oh yeah, we worked at Stone Mountain together. So that's pretty fun. I stayed at that job. Yeah, that was like my first job, and I stayed there for like 4 years. And I had one other job while I was at Stone Mountain. At one point, I had 2 jobs together, and let's just say that job didn't work out. I didn't really like it. I was like, Stone Mountain has kind of spoiled me. I get to be happy and play with kids and meet, like, have like funny castmates and make friends and that are actors and like have interesting lives. And then I took all that experience and tried to go work at a golf club. Like, come on, McKinley. A place where people purposefully exclude themselves from society, pay thousands of dollars to have memberships, are all super old and super palm colored and entitled and mean. Kind of, they were kind of nice though. And I'm polishing plates. I'm polishing silverware. I was like, why did I sign over there? Honestly, it wasn't bad though. It was kind of fun. Like I worked there with my friend, and she had a lot of friends there. She had been working there for a while. It was fun. I did enjoy it because also the people actually were kind of nice. It was just weird vibes though sometimes when I thought about it too much, and how I only ever saw white people there. And when I thought about it too much, I was like, dang, all the employees are black. Everybody that come through here is white. This is not really given. But it would be like weddings and stuff, and we would get to like, be there for the wedding, eat delicious food. Bro, that food was so good they would make. And there'd be so much at the end of the night. You just eat. Have some. I remember that first time I had like they like took the potato out and like mashed it, but then they put it in that twice baked potato was so good. Anyways, that job didn't last very long though. Mostly because my schedule at the time, like I personally, which is kind of if you watched our other episode about standing on business, kind of part of what I was getting at too when I was talking about like sometimes I don't really start. I just kind of wait for things to happen, or I don't know. I kind of have this attitude towards making money that obviously I want to do it, but I'm just not super pressed. Like I don't like a lot of people will sacrifice so much to make money. I'm like the opposite. Like if I have stuff that I'm interested in, I'm gonna tell my job I can't work that day. And so at that job, I had stuff I was doing. Like I was starting to like work with kids and like volunteer with kids and stuff. And I also had another job at Stone Mountain. So I just had a limited schedule. But I would tell her in advance. And my friend would tell me that like when I'm not there, they're like talking about how I never come into work and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, y'all are talking about me behind my back at a job where I'm polishing silverware for rich people that are maybe racist. Let me go then. Like that's nothing. And so I left that job very quickly. After like 3 months, I think I worked there. But at the same time, I'm grateful that I had it because it's good to have different types of experiences.
It is good to have different experiences.
Yeah, and then I continued to work at Stone Mountain for a few years. But then Stone Mountain, at the end of like you're leaving high school, $9.50 just wasn't given for me anymore. I also wanted to be a performer. Like the shows, I had memorized most of the shows. I've been working there 4 years. I was like, oh, I want to be a performer. I want to like be one of the performers instead of just the usher. And they were telling me I had to work there another year or another summer to be considered for that. And that summer, I just had a lot of other stuff I could do. And I was like, for $9.50, Stone Mountain, I was basically in high school. I also was feeling rich, of course. Though I was making like $300 every 2 weeks. Like that's not really after high school. At a point where it was like to come do the same thing that you've been doing for the last 4 years, I was not that. I was like no longer that interested. I was like, well, that's okay. Like another opportunity will come my way. Yeah, that's how I moved on from my first job.
Well, that's good. After I left my first job, I had my son, and I actually went back to work in a restaurant, not the same job, a different restaurant. And I think that's the difference in me and you is you actually did things that you love to do. And I admire that. I just did what I thought I had to do. Absolutely. I did not care to be there. I was just going through the motions. I'm at work. Hey, I have to work to take care of my family. This is what I do. And it left me feeling very unfulfilled, very dissatisfied. And just it created like I was basically like a robot. I get up, I go to work, I come home. I get up, I go to work, I come home. But I think that the older you get, and I'm happy that McKelly was able to learn at an early age, I want to do something that I love. And I hear people say all the time, if you do something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I think it's really, really important to do what you enjoy doing. And it goes back to me being able to sustain myself, by way of my God-given talents. Yeah. So I'm happy that you were able to take a stand and say, I'm not gonna, settle. Because that's what you would have been doing in essence, is settling. And those moments, those moments where you actually realize, like, I grew up in a very inclusive environment. My parents, we had like certain family members that would say derogatory terms when you spoke about other people, other nationalities. But for the most part, I don't think my parents were racist. But actually be in an environment where you see it and feel it. And like, I'll never forget my cousin. He was married to this lady, and I was living with them, and I was sweeping the floor, and she was white. And when I got to her, she just picked her feet up. And it's like something just went all over me in that moment. And I threw the broom down, like, you know what, you sweep the floor. Because I was like, yeah, it didn't vibe right. It didn't feel right with my spirit. But, like you saying, you were there polishing the silver. Like, those are regular jobs. Yeah. And you can choose whether you want to do that type of work or not.
And I didn't honestly mind it. Choice. We'd be sitting in the closet gossiping, polish report. It's like, it was a vibe.
Right. But like in those moments where you feel what you feel and you cannot deny that you felt what you felt, so I just appreciate you realizing like this is not what I want to do. and choosing to do something different and choosing to do what you love. That's admirable.
Yeah, it's cool too that you said like not settling, because it's also I I guess we all just created different, and God really did His big one. No, I'm just saying. I'm kidding. When He created me, but I do think I'm appreciative of the things that I did kind of get at an earlier age, because obviously we all got different strengths and weaknesses. So like for me, I feel like a lot of things that I witnessed, like some of my friends go through, that's not really my weakness, but other things that I struggle with, they don't struggle with, for example. And so, like, one of the things for me, I'm just grateful that I kind of always had that outlook of, like, just wanting to, like you were saying, basically. Because it's funny, because most people wouldn't have considered that settling, because that job made more than my other job. But I was just like, to come in here for what? Y'all talking about my back? To do what? Polish fork? That's crazy. I'm leaving. But most people would have been like, oh, this job is making more, so I'm obviously going to do this one over the other one. But that didn't really matter to me. I was happy to make my 300 every 2 weeks and take pictures in a gingerbread man costume and sit in a little cottage. I was vibing.
Yeah, and I'm still looking. I mean, I've been working for 20 plus years, and I am just starting to get into a place where I have work that I enjoy doing. So, kudos to you.
Thanks. Yeah.
But the workforce has changed tremendously from then to now. I remember a time that you could literally quit your job on Friday and be hired at a new job on Monday.
Nice. Real nice.
Like it was and I have quit my job on Friday. Like I've experienced it, lived it. Like it was, I didn't care. I had no loyalty to any, like if I go to work and you say something to piss me off or did something that I didn't like, I'm out. I told y'all before, my cutoff game is strong. And it's not I'm not proud, but it's strong.
Yeah.
But I think that recently it's so hard. We have college graduates that can't get a job.
Hello.
It's just really, really I don't even have a word for it. It's just strange. Bizarre. And I think that I don't even know what to think about it. Like I don't even understand how it's happening because the economy is said to be in a good state, but when you have people and I've heard people say, oh, they're overqualified or people need jobs. Like let me in, So I don't know what to think about that. But I do know what to think about it. I think that we need to create more of our own businesses. That's what I think about it.
Hello.
If there's not a place for you at the table, you make your own place.
What Alicia Cara said. I don't remember what she said, but it was a good song. Listen to Wild Thing. No, what did she say? I don't remember. Something about the table and sitting. Something like what you just said. Whatever. Look it up. Fact check it. Yeah, that's crazy. Quitting on Friday, having a job by Monday is crazy. Nowadays, like I applied to a job in November. Okay, no. In fairness, that one was different. Okay, I applied to a job maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And yesterday I got an email saying to schedule a 30-minute call, in which after that call, I might progress to another step, in which after that step, I might progress to another step. There's like 4 steps. And to schedule that initial call, when I looked on the calendar, the next available one is 2 weeks from now. So it's like crazy. It's crazy. That process is way slower. It's ridiculous. That's simple.
But then too, in my time, we didn't have like the gig work. So I guess it balances itself out because you can be an Uber driver if you have a car. Hello. You can deliver for DoorDash. There's so many different opportunities that we did not have then. True. So I feel like it kind of balances, and those are like contracted, like independent roles. Yeah. Like
DoorDash, you might be waiting a couple hours before you get an order, but you'll get some. That's my current thing right now as I wait for jobs.
Mine too. Extra money, shopping money.
Yeah. That's fair.
But yeah, I think that we just didn't have a lot of discipline in my age. We didn't have to have. It wasn't required
because you could quit and
because
have a
you could
job.
just do whatever you wanted to do. But I think that, like I said, in this society, the gig work is more, so it may balance, but it is just amazing how competitive, how much the competition is to get a job. It's like 10,000 people applying for one role.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Especially now too, I feel like people are a lot more willing to, like, people's lives are a lot more flexible. I have this idea. I don't know how true it is, but I just have this idea from what I see around me and what I see on social media. Like, I feel like people's lives are a lot more flexible. I feel like there's a lot more people that are like, if I got, like, right now, like, I feel like there's people that are like, if I got a job in Nebraska, I would move. Like, you know, like, a lot of people are, I feel like a lot more people are flexible. So it makes it like, yeah, there are so many more people applying. Cause it's not just like, okay, who's in Metro Atlanta? People are applying from like Ohio, and they like, if I get the job, I guess I'm moving. And it's like crazy.
Yeah, that's true. And I agree with that, because even at my job, they have a department set up specifically to help you to move, to transition you to a different state. Like, they can tell you what school your kids will go to. They can like call the U-Haul for you. It's really amazing. So I agree with that people are more flexible.
Yeah.
Because you would not even consider. I have a friend, her daughter recently told her that she's moving to Texas. And she's like, she doesn't have family there. There's no one in Texas. Why is she moving to Texas? And then I said she may feel like that's going to help her to grow, you know. Yeah. And she's like, but I can't get to Texas. And I'm like, well, maybe that's why she feels like she needs to move, you know. But I would not have imagined coming to tell my mom, I'm about to take Malik and move to Texas. She would have been like, girl, you done lost your mind. Sit down and go to your room. But yeah, that is a lot to think about with the flexibility. I think it's great though to have that ability to go and to live in a different state, in a different, even sometimes a different country. Yeah, you know, people and people are commuting. It's so many different ways to work now. I think COVID really changed the whole culture of work, because everybody thought that you had to just be present in this place for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, when COVID was like, you know what, just get a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection, and you can sit in your living room or you can sit in your bedroom and work. You know, the kids were working during their schoolwork.
I don't know if they was working. They were supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Sadly, the kids.
They did. The kids did suffer somewhat, but it was somewhat.
Just 5th grade, like 7th graders right now can't read because they missed 5th, 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even for the parent, it was hard to try to navigate trying to teach them, because you're actually having to be physically, well, not physically, but virtually at work yourself.
Yeah, like I knew a family where it was like, she has 2 kids in elementary school. How many devices are supposed to have? They both got classes, and they also like 5. Like, they're supposed to be sitting on Zooms and like not interrupting each other. That's crazy. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
but for as far as the work culture, COVID really did change it, and it gave us a different perspective of how we could work. You know, and I know people now. Some people live in different states from the states that they work in. Some people show up to the office once a week or once a month. Like, it's just a lot of different variables that I don't think we would have known about when I started working 20 years ago. So that's a plus.
Yeah, we also making more than $450. So yes,
thank you, Jesus.
But also, I'm sure inflation.
It was
$425.
$425. It was $425, and then it went from $425 to $475.
Okay, increased. What is that? 70 cents.
50 cents. $4.25.
Sheesh. Yeah.
The first 50 cents.
Sheesh.
But yeah, and your first job was what, $9.50? Yeah, you doing pretty good.
And at the end of high school, I was like, that's not enough. What's going on? And now I'm applying to these jobs, substituting. I'm like, dividing the math, because substitute positions, they tell you how much it is for the day. You get to do some dividing though.
The day?
Yeah, because it's like, wow, you're not like an employee for real. You like, it's like a contract. It's the same as like DoorDash. So I'm like, pick up an order basically, like pick up a day. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
What's the breakdown? Approximately.
Most of the jobs are between 130 to 180 a day, and so it's roughly like $16 to $19 an hour. But that's what I be seeing on the things. But then I saw on one county's website that substitutes make $20 an hour. So I'm like, let that be the truth, and let y'all hit me up.
But then that's a day, so they may not need a substitute every day.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. So substituting is definitely going to be like similar to gig work for me, but I'm doing it because I want to see if I want to be a teacher. And today I saw this position for something that's not a teacher, and I was like, dang, I would like to do that too. That's crazy. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're still in that stage. You don't have to know what you want to do. Just do a little bit of everything and figure it out as you go.
That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, because I also just got my first like paid theater gig, which I'm super happy about. Yeah, crazy. I had an internship from September to December, and I got to be assistant director for one production, and then I got to be assistant stage manager for the second. And this next show that I'm working on, I start on Thursday. Well, this week, I guess. Y'all don't know when whatever. I start soon, and yeah, I'm gonna be like part of the run crew, mainly helping with like costume changes and stuff. Cause like it's a 2-person show, so it's gonna be very like fast paced. We gotta change real quick type of thing. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. So yeah, we're gonna work in 2024. We're gonna get it done.
Oh yeah. Let us know in the comments what your experience is like entering the job force, and like how your current experience is going. If you haven't entered it yet, like what's some things you're curious about, scared about, excited about?
Yeah. Work is work.
Yeah.
I just want to give a piece of advice. I remember when I was telling my mom, I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to get a job. I'm ready to get a job. And she told me, she said, baby, stay a child as long as you can, because when you work, you'll be working for the rest of your life. And she did not lie.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you guys for joining us today. It's definitely been a pleasure. We will continue working to figure it out with you.
Oh, yeah. Have a good one.
Bye.